and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
I'm John Feely of Feely's Clutch, and you are watching Reptiles Unplugged.
This is Will Rose from Royal Canadian Reptiles, and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
Guys, it's KB Reptiles.
Team Helga.
Team Beard.
And you're watching
Reptiles Unplugged.
It's Justin from Jacob Luck Reptiles, and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
Nick with Renowned Reptiles here, and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
It's your boy Harry Wayne from Royal Canvas Exotics, and you're tuning into Reptiles Unplugged.
You're Triple B, and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Another lovely Wednesday here. I think that's the 25th today, right? Nestling into the new little bit of lifestyle, but I'm Joel here from State 48, and to my right, or your right, however you're looking at it, is my good buddy Adam over here. How you doing tonight, man?
Doing good, man. Thanks. Adam from BeachBumXotics. Super excited about tonight. I mean, the man needs no introduction, but I'll turn it over to him. He's our good friend from across the pond. Take it away. Let people know who you are, my friend.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Obviously, it's Gavin from Balls2U. Great to be here, guys. Finally, missed you guys. Obviously, we've chatted, but yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait to go live with you guys.
Yeah. I remember a couple, it's almost like 2 years ago now, the Tinley that we were all at. Dude, that's a long time, man. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while.
For such a short period of time that we were able to hang out. Obviously, I knew you guys via the internet and all that sort of stuff, but for the short period of time that we got to hang out, and I like to say I'm a good judge of character.
Right.
And what was good about it, that everyone in that group was just so, we clicked. Everyone just clicked.
Right, right.
And I really do feel that, you know, I've got some real good friends over there, and it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I agree. It was like the second we all started hanging out with each other, it felt like we had been friends for like a long time hanging out. I mean, I know we all communicate over the internet, but meeting face to face, you never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
sometimes.
Right.
I mean,
and it was awesome, man. I had a great time.
I mean, it can also be that what you can see, people can be one way on the internet or text messages and that sort of stuff, but to actually click in person, I think that's a true test. You know, that's the true way that you know who's who. You know, there was a few outside our little clique that I got to meet that I never clicked with, and it was like when we come back into our little circle. You can really feel the difference that we had in our circle compared to the other people that I met that we may see on social media,
right?
Outside that circle. So definitely something awesome.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun, man. I have these flashbacks of you telling that story about Miguel and how you guys just couldn't link up like on that last day, dude. I laughed so hard still listening to that story. You're talking about like being in Chicago for the first time, you need your bulletproof vest.
yeah. You know, it's bless Miguel. It's the first time and the last time I'll trust him. You know?
Normally only takes once with Miguel. Then you learn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that dude just flies by the seat of his pants, man. You never know what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
It was awesome times.
Yeah, it's past midnight. Don't do anything he says. That's just the golden rule.
Yeah.
I found that out when I got to Chicago. I was like, Miguel, where are you? He's like, I'm still in bed. I'll see you in the morning. I was like, dude, what? You know what I mean? It's like, you'll be okay. Just grab a hotel. I'll link in with you in the morning. I was like, dude, I'm here. Okay. You know what? Okay, let's just do this. So it's crazy.
He made it out of there unscathed. So good job, Gavin.
Yeah, he survived
to Chicago.
Gavin survived Tinley.
But thanks for joining up with us tonight. Definitely long overdue. I think I think just an immediate topic that crosses, how are things over there with you guys and everything with the coronavirus going on and all that. Are you good and your family and everything?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as you're probably aware, well, it's 1 o'clock in the morning here in the UK, so it's now the 26th. We got put on lockdown 2 days ago, which for me, I feel like it should have been a week ago. You know, not just 2 days ago. I think we're a week behind.
Right.
My brother lives in Paris. They were put on lockdown about a week and a half ago. All the family's all good, but what's difficult is because I don't live with my daughter. My ex-partner, she doesn't want me to have my daughter during this period, which I kind of understand. The UK government here have said it's okay for separated couples to share the child, if you like, so I can go and pick up my daughter. But that's going to be the hardest thing. But I've just moved into a new place. I've got tons of jobs to do. I feel here in the UK as well, people aren't taking it seriously in a sense of people are still going out, they're still congregating, they're still using public transport. And in my eyes, the sooner we just shut off for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the better, Just get it over and done with. Let's just lock it down. Let's try and give the NHS, which is our medical cover or
agency
services,
give
them a chance to get this under some sort of control. But it's definitely going to change our way of life, and for you guys as well. It's like World War flu.
It is.
It's going to change. This is going to go down in history books. This is something that's going to be, we learned about the Black Plague and all that sort of stuff, and World War I, World War II. This is something that we're going to, our children's children are going to learn about for years to come.
Yeah,
for sure. Unprecedented times right now. Nothing that I think anybody alive really has gone through before, minus a very small population of super old people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. 1918, I think, was the Spanish flu.
Influenza. So you'd have to be 102.
Yeah.
To just have been born then.
Hey, somebody was 103 and survived. So think of that. There was a 103-year-old lady that survived. She's seen them twice. She's seen this twice.
Right?
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I feel you, Gavin, and that's a little bit how it was about a week ago around where I live, where people were not taking it seriously. There were still big groups, and a lot of it, unfortunately, was kind of the kids, because the schools got cut off first and parents were still working. So the kids were kind of treating it as spring break, and partying and still hanging out. And I think it's really important for people to understand this is so nasty, yet at the same time can be really mild for somebody where you don't even know you have it, but you come in contact with somebody that has, a weakened immune system, compromised in some fashion, and you could really hurt them.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I know 2 people now that have got it, or the one person had it and he's kind of coming out the other end.
Right.
And the other guy is the the owner of my gym. He's well established. He's well known within the bodybuilding industry and fitness industry, and he's one of the fittest guys that I know. But we were talking this morning, and he's bad.
Yeah,
he's bad. And it's not until you know someone who's got it, and you can see how they were and how they are now, that you kind of go, oh, this is bad. This is something serious. And I think, we, like you said, it may be cold to someone, or a little bit of a feeling of unwell, but for someone else it could be deadly. So
exactly right. Just right. Don't treat it as, oh, well, I feel fine, then I can just charge around and do whatever I want out there. It's, really we should be looking out for other people right now.
Sure.
And the actions we take may save lives outside of our own. And, yeah, so, kind of pulling this topic a little bit back into reptiles, have you noticed it impact kind of like what's going on as far as people buying and sending reptiles and things like that?
Breakdown in logistics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, logistic-wise, obviously at the moment, the reptile couriers, I believe, are still operating within the UK boundaries, let's say. So everything at the moment that's in Europe that we may have brought or we may be sending to Europe or to the States is kind of on hold, which again is understandable. So, and going back a little bit, this will probably change our way of life without us realizing it. So more and more online ordering services are going to be, the way we do things moving forward. And morph market is a godsend for us. However, like I said, buying internationally or buying from Europe and all that sort of sending out, I think a lot of that's going to go on hold, which, it's very rare I send animals to the States because I sell out so quick here in the UK.
Right.
But my plan was this year was to send a small group of, some animals over there. But I just feel that it's not a bad thing. Like I said, it's we've just got to look at it and we've just got to go, right, okay, I may not be able to send animals to Europe or to the States or to Canada, but we've just got to learn a new way of doing things, basically.
Right.
We've just got to reset. Yeah, exactly. Reset the button and just go, right, okay, instead of relying on sending animals abroad, I need to market myself here in the UK a bit better, or I need to do this, I need to do that. Because there is a lot of wholesale breeders here in the UK that wholesale to the States and vice versa. There's a lot of people in the States that wholesale into the UK or into Europe. So, and a lot of breeders just market on that. Like I know Mark Mendek over at Marcus Jane, he sells a lot overseas. He does the shows over in Canada, but he hasn't got a morph market. He just predominantly sells a lot of stuff either by word of mouth or the shows, or he sends it overseas. He may have to reset that and go, right, okay, I need to set up a morph market, or I need to market more in Canada. But only time will tell.
Yeah, exactly. Time will tell, right? And see kind of where we all end up. And in the meantime, like you said, adapt. It's not the end of the world, right? This isn't the end of everything. So,
staying positive, moving forward, and changing some parameters is going to, I think, help out a lot.
Yep, and what a better time if you're thinking about doing a YouTube channel? Probably one of the best times,
right?
To start.
I've been saying that to a like, dude, this is the best time. You could shoot 40 videos in 14 days. What else are you doing?
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. I mean, people think, and they see us on YouTube and they see us do these videos and stuff. I don't think people realise what actually goes into doing YouTube, and it depends on what you do on YouTube, whether you're a vlogger, whether you're you're tutorial, you're trying to give someone advice. It's not easy, and there's a lot of people here in the UK that sort of go, yeah, I'm going to set up a YouTube,
right,
some Gavin at Balls2U, we can do this, and then all of a sudden after less than a year, they just get burnt out because they find it so difficult. And it isn't easy, but it depends on you as a person. So it's like anything else. If you have, I love to learn. So photography, this is, photography / videography.
Yeah.
Is all kind of,
right.
I get excited about that. So I like to learn new things. And I think every video I sort of criticize myself. I go, well, I could do this, I could do that. But for me, that's what it's all about. If I hit it on the head first time, I'd be like, well, yeah, I've nailed that. I don't need to do
Why
no
am
more
I doing
videos.
this anymore? Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I should hire myself out doing videos.
Right.
But you know, it's not easy. And the good thing is with YouTube is you can document stuff. And I'm one of these people who are I like to see something. You know, I can read it all day long, but taking it in, no. So I have to watch it. It's a bit like when you read magazines, cartoon,
right.
comic books.
Comics,
you know?
right.
Comics, yeah, you read comics for days, but when you start reading a novel, you're like, you know. But you know, it's good. I mean, and the good thing about this isolation thing is, there's always going to be something that we all wanted to learn to do, but we never had the time. Now we've got the time and we can learn.
No excuses now.
Whether it be a new language, you know, videography, photography, you know, even stuff like learning how to change a set of spark plugs on a car, or, you know, there's so much now that we can do, that we can broaden ourselves. And like I said, YouTube is one of them. You know what I mean? So it's all good.
Yeah. I like that, and that's a positive takeaway. I feel like from all of this, instead of getting real worked up and scared or nervous, you know, maybe take a step back, remain cautious, and improve yourself during this time. You know, everybody asks about, you know, I wish I didn't have to go to work today. Well, you know, we're kind of mandated to that now, so take the time to do something you've been putting off. You know, and I think you can look at the positive.
Yeah, exactly. My snakes are loving it now.
Yeah, right. Snakes are doing
great. They're almost like, dude, what are you doing? You're checking on us way too much.
Right.
Yeah, I've got a female that's due to lay like literally any day, and I must have gone into the HQ probably about 4 or 5 times today just to open a tub and go, no. I bet she's thinking, do you know what? Just leave me alone. Go to work. Do whatever you got to do. Just
do your thing. Yeah.
So she's like, aren't you supposed to be at work? What the heck's going on out there?
And like, I'm there, I'm thinking, and I stop what I'm doing. I just go and check. I'm just going to check and I make sure she's okay. I'm sticking my head in there going like, are you okay? Do you need a hand? Can I get you a hot drink or anything? You know, anything I can do, you know?
Shoot some fresh water. I just did it this morning, but I know it could be stale. So
So it's we can definitely do those little odd jobs in the snake room, you know, dial in the racks, you know, maybe swap some stuff over, you know. I'm not one for deep cleaning, like I believe that the snakes, because they're quite insecure species. I'm one of these people where I believe that sort of not leave them in their own smell. You know, I think if you sometimes if you get too cleanliness or too over the top, it can take away the smell. Because if you guys notice, when you change your reptile or when you change your snake's substrate, first thing it does is it goes and craps in the corner and leaves you a back turd, you know. And that for me is it's saying, you know, this is my scent, you know, this is my tub, I'm going to scent this, this is what I'm going to do. So for me, I've never been a massive sort of, you know, oh yeah, let's deep clean everything, let's do this. But I must admit, I have looked in the tubs and I've gone, yeah, I could do with stripping all that down, I could do with doing this. No. But I'm just having to hold myself back and go, no, they're okay.
Right.
Dude, that is totally true. I'll typically leave a couple of urates. I mean, I'll pick up the main part of it, but like I won't do a whole substrate change out of that, right? Until they do like a massive poop where they've painted the walls. And I do find that like it almost keeps them more regular. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I found the same thing. But clean water.
Yeah, clean water obviously super important.
And again, I think a lot of us. I mean, I remember talking to Sean Bradley from Exotic by Nature, and we were talking, and one of his catchphrases was "Feed them dirty, breed them dirty." In other words, don't. A lot of people struggle with feeding ball pythons and breeding ball pythons, and they're like, their tub's immaculate, the temperatures are spot on, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, right, okay, just try leaving their tubs a little bit dirty. Yeah. Right. Just leave their own smell in there a little bit. Yeah. Let them sort of get used to that's their home. That's, this is my house. Again, very shy species. They're not one for, they're not like a boa or a rat snake or a corn snake where, they'll eat pretty much every time of the day or any time of the day or any day at all. So trying to sort of educate people that it's not what we want. So we expect it to be nice and clean and all this sort of stuff, which is good. But it's what the snake prefers. So listening to your animals, watching your animals, and trying to pay attention to them really does give you more success. And there's a story that I was told that a person starting out in this hobby was being coached by a pretty big breeder overseas, and he set it all up, but his snakes weren't feeding. He got the ARS racks, he got it all dialed in, everything was spot on. And they couldn't figure out, because they were feeding prior, but he couldn't figure out basically what was going on. And what the gentleman had done, he put an air freshener in the room, and the air freshener was that strong that it was affecting the snakes, because all they could sense, because they can smell obviously a lot different to us, and they pick up a scent that we don't. So to them is really, really strong. And literally took the scent, the air freshener out, and the snake started feeding straight on like that. And it just goes to show that we're always learning. We're always and if we pay attention to our animals, then it's definitely the way forward. You'll learn a lot by watching what they do.
Yeah. Know your animals, man. I feel like that's something you talk about quite a bit, which is something that I feel like I tried to practice early on. I remember watching your videos and just listening to the process, the breeding process video series that you did. I really liked that. It was, it was all like more know your snakes, know your animals, know how they act, be aware of their signs, and it'll all work for you, kind of thing.
It's very difficult because when you see someone, keep getting eggs, or we've got more locks and we've got more eggs and this, that, and the other, it kind of makes it look easy.
Right.
And breeding ball pythons isn't hard, but it's not easy either.
Right.
And what people fail to realise is there is a process. And I suppose when you are in tune with your animals, or what they're doing, it does make that process easier.
Yeah.
So to everyone else who's looking in, they go, oh God, that looks easy, I can do that. But then when you try to explain to them that actually there's other things going on behind the scenes, like watching what the female's doing, how the male is acting, whether it be a hatchling or a juvenile or an adult or a sub-adult, they're all doing their own little things. And that's where trying to teach people to grow up a ball python as a hatchling and then watch it, it's sort of, you learn its little quirks, its little
right. Yeah, that's Ray from Euphoric Reptiles was just talking about that. Buying snakes as hatchlings, then you know how they grow.
Yeah, exactly. And you can then go, even as an experienced breeder, if I got a breeder female in and I think, let's go, I'm going to get some eggs. In actual fact, I have to end up on, not all the time, but sometimes you end up waiting just as long, because the first season, you don't know how she feeds, you don't know how she is, and all of a sudden it takes you another year or 2 years to get her used to the way you do things, and then you also have to learn how she does things.
Yep.
So in actual fact, sometimes it's probably easier growing up a hatchling, and this is why I try and educate people and just say, look, grow them up, take your time, it's not a race, learn the animal's behavior, and it will help you in the breeding process, because then you can look back and go, well, hang on a minute, she doesn't normally do this, or he doesn't normally do that. This is strange, this is different behavior. And I had someone message me today just saying, you know, I put a male in with a female, and they started trashing the tub, like really going at it,
Right.
and to the point where the person pulled out the male because they thought that it was two males, and that the female that they'd been grown up for 2 years was actually a male and not a female.
Right.
But again, that they were correct sexes. So the one was a female, the one was a male. It was all good, but it was just the fact of, like I said, knowing the process, and it really worried the person. And I was just like, yeah, that's normal. You know, I did a video on it. You know, here's the link. Check it out. But again, it's just knowing your animals, and I think that's why sometimes it is easy, because I do know my animals. I do know what they're doing and what they should be doing. So,
yeah, it's 100%. And it's so funny because I bought a group of adult females last year in hopes of making like an army of hets for my Desert Ghost projects and stuff. And like only 2 females ended up going out of probably 6 that I bought. And, you know, I'm hoping this year they go, right? But I don't know, because, you know, they haven't gone yet. So I would have rather bought hatchlings.
That's the thing. So, and again, there's nothing wrong in doing that. And there is nothing wrong. And what I try to say to people is, this is normally aimed at the people who are getting into the hobby. That, you know, learn the species, learn how they feed, their feeding pattern, you know, what they like, what they don't like. And then it will make you such a better breeder. And even as experienced breeders like we are, we can still buy animals and still struggle with them, because even breeding loans, you know, you may do a breeding loan like I know some of you guys have with Miguel. Going from one facility to another, even though, you know, you may say to your friend, oh, you know, this is how I feed her, this is when she's fed every day, every Thursday, whatever. It can still take a while for anything good to happen. So there's nothing wrong in buying adult females, or you know, a collection of adults, but just try not to pin all your hopes, because it's what's the saying? The saying is, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. You know, you've got to kind of just do your best. But it's definitely easier growing up an animal, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of my females been over at Miguel's almost a year and a half now. You know, we missed with her last season. She is going this season, so that's cool. One of his females, same thing, missed last season. Probably going to go this season the way it's looking. She just had an ovulation the other day, so
sounds good.
It's an interesting thought, though. You know, when you consider on average, you know, it takes, you know, 3 years to get a female up to size. Sometimes they can go quicker than that, you know, etc. But then you try to kind of speed that process up by a subadult adult, and ended up taking 2 years plus anyways, because of that. You know, the temperature is different, the altitude's different, the pressure is different. You know, there's so many factors that are going into these animals that it's makes it difficult sometimes getting those females, you know, older females, to breed.
And when I tried to talk about the breeding process, because there's that much in here that I want to relay out, that I try my best to keep on track with things. But there's so much information I want to, you know, like, okay, you can, like, I say guidelines. We have guidelines within the community of breeding, but there's exceptions either side of those guidelines. And the problem is to try to say to someone, your female may only be 1,100 grams, and she's gone off food, and she looks like she's looking for something, but she's 2 years old. So okay, or she's 3 years old. Right. Okay, she's off food. She's off food and she's at the front of the tub and she's looking for something. She's only 1,100 grams. As an experienced breeder, I would take all that information and go, well, I'm going to put a male in. I'm going to see what happens. And it's that experience that you can't really get it across in a video or get it across in a post. And literally, sometimes, you know, I've had to, you know, some of my females only stay at 1,200 grams.
Right.
Yeah, but I know during the breeding season, they'll put on another 800 grams. So they'll drop a clutch of 8 eggs, and then at the end of laying, they're back down to 1,200 grams.
Right.
It's that experience that trying to educate people is very difficult, but it's all a learning process. So by trying to say to someone, right, 2 to 3 years of age for a female, it's around about 1,600 grams, is a good place to start with a female.
It is, right.
And then with a male, we can say 12 months, 800 grams. That tends to be like the safe point.
Sweet spot, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the most common questions that I get from people kind of trying to dibble dabble in it, starting out, is like, oh, I read that they have to be 1,500 grams or I can't put a male in. And it's like, no, know your animal, right? Just like you were saying, 1,200 grams, if they're of age and giving you the signs if that's what they're looking for, it's safe for the animal. Go ahead, right? I mean, just know your animal. I'm not suggesting taking an 800-gram female and trying to pair it with the male.
Right.
More than likely, they're not even going to lock. She's just going to be like, what's going on? And they're going to go to opposite corners and just kind of hang out till feed day.
Right.
Yeah. And that's one thing that, again, I try and say to people is in the wild, they wouldn't have, it's my birthday today. I'm 2 years old, or I'm 2 years old.
Right.
I've registered.
I'm open. I'm open, guys.
It's business time.
They won't do that. And they don't walk around with a set of scales going, oh, sorry, I can't breed with you because I'm not quite 1,500 or 1,600 grams. It's whenever they are ready. And that's why when people say to me, like, I wouldn't say they don't say I'm irresponsible, but when people say like, well, if you've got these guidelines in place, how come you do it a little bit different? And that's because, again, I've watched the animal, I've seen it grow up, I've been able to learn its different actions, and well, that's strange. Why is she at the front of the tub looking like she wants food, and I offer her food and she's not interested?
Yep.
All those little key things that in the wild, again, this species, it's down to them. And the one thing I've noticed, I do know certain breeders that have tried to breed a female at 800 grams, but they've been older. Now, whether that breeder had success or not, I don't know.
I've heard success stories from around, females that were pushing 2, 3, maybe up to even to 5 years and still at that 800-900 gram range. And they'll pop out, 4 egg clutch and they're cool, right?
And that's something that since having the ultrasound, and again, I'm not suggesting everyone go out and buy an ultrasound, but all the years I've collected the data, the ultrasound now is I'm going like this with a tick box and going, the ultrasound verifies that. Right, okay. This female, awesome. This, right, I can tick these boxes. And it's giving me, it's confirming the data that I've collected, but it's also showing me new things, not how many eggs she's got, because I don't look into that. I'm looking at how fast, the minute they hit like 30 millimeters, literally within weeks, as opposed to it being months, growing.
Right.
Go like this, they just rock it up.
What an awesome tool. And that you can see it visually taking place. That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. A friend of mine brought an ultrasound on my recommendation, and I went around there and we were doing some ultrasounding, and I was able to sort of assist him and go, right, that female, don't pair her anymore. Just feed her. Get those follicles. I think they're around about between 10 and 15 millimeters. Don't pair her. Just keep feeding her. Give it 3 weeks and check a follicle growth. If they haven't grown, then try a male. If they have grown, then just keep feeding. So what I've learned is when I used to hear Mark Mendex say, I now know I only need to breed that female and that male once or twice. I can actually go, well, I can see what he means. Instead of breeding it every month or once a month, that male may go to that female, let's say 4 to 7 times.
Right.
If you can find the perfect window of opportunity where that male only has to go in maybe twice, now that male can be used with another female, and you haven't got to use a backup male. You know, my friend was using very young males, and I said, no, don't use your young male at the moment. Throw him in at the end when a follicle growth is
where it needs to be.
Glow stage. Yeah. You know, if a female's only 10 or 15 millimeters and you're trying to use that young male, that first time male, the chances are he's not going to sire that clutch and you're going to get slugs.
Yep.
Use a backup male maybe to help grow the follicles, and then on the last lock, try and use him and try and get a dual sire clutch, or try and get the young male or the first time male to steal that clutch.
Yeah. Stealing the clutch when the time is right.
Exactly. You know, Miguel was telling me when he first got his ultrasound, that was probably one of the greatest advantages that he noticed, is you could really start timing things perfect.
Yeah.
And, you know, that reduces the amount of males you need and the work that they're putting in to get the same kind of, you know, output.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right. That's pretty cool to me.
And the other thing, and this is something I keep trying and want to touch on, is that just because you've got all the tools doesn't mean you're going to have success. And that's one thing that breeders back in the day used to say, you know, if you buy all these animals from me, you're going to get success.
Right.
Right.
It's the same with equipment. You know, I used homemade racking systems for years, and they were fantastic. I had great success, and I've had success without the ultrasound. But what I'm doing with the ultrasound is now I'm going, right, I had a breeding recipe which was working. There was a couple of areas that it was a little bit I was in the dark with.
Mm-hmm.
Now the ultrasound has kind of brought in the light, and I can go, right, okay, now I need to change my breeding recipe from this to this. But it's like everything else, you know, you've got to learn to walk before you can run. And for me, I loved learning about the breeding process, and now it's like I'm learning again with the ultrasound.
Right.
It's like I'm learning, you know, it's like I'm going, wow, I didn't. Now I understand. Now I can see why, and this is what I understand, and it's just great.
That's cool, yeah.
But
because
it won't make you a perfect breeder.
That's what I was going to say, right? And I've definitely talked to some old school breeders that say, oh, you know, look at all these new guys wasting their money on the ultrasound. Learn the animal. The animal will tell you everything it needs to by touching it and watching it. And I completely agree, right? Like, but I think the ultrasounds have come down to like almost a price point where like the average Joe is able to acquire it without, you know, and it's a tool to be utilized alongside of what you're already seeing.
Yeah, they're not $10,000 anymore. You know,
right?
Like, it's
and you haven't got it. Yeah, you haven't got to go into your local surgery and try and buy it up and go, are you getting rid of that ultrasound?
right.
I'm a snake breeder. I'll take it. You know.
Exactly.
While security's like, get out of here.
Yeah, you don't have to know somebody to get
wheeling it out. Yeah. And you know, when I posted that I got an ultrasound on Instagram, a lot of old breeders, old school breeders, got in touch with me and said, "Oh, you know, I thought you was old school and all this sort of stuff." And you know, it was all said in jokes, in jest, but. You know, I'm still old school. I can look at a snake. Like when when I went around my friends and we were ultrasounding, you know, he was pulling them out and going, oh, I want to see what this one's at. I was there saying, just by visual look, I could say, yeah, I don't think there's going to be anything there.
Right.
And again, ultrasound, it just kind of confirmed it because you're looking at the body swelling or you're looking at, you know, how they look. Right. And again, that comes from experience. And again, you could go out and buy all the best racks in the world, the top end snakes, the ultrasound. You could have someone at the other end of the phone, you know, one of the best breeders in the world, telling you what to do. It's like driving a car. You know, you've got your own way and you learn as you go.
Yep.
That's very important, and that's why we see a lot of people come into the hobby and then leave because they get burnt out so fast.
Yeah.
You know? But it's just take your time.
Yeah, I think those are wise words, right? Like, don't take more than you can chew in this hobby, because it'll quickly burn you out. Go at the rate that's comfortable for you. Get all the tools and things as you're going. Like you said, you survived on homemade racks and no ultrasound for a long time, and there's plenty to be learned in that aspect of it. And then, hey, next jump, you're going to spend a little money. Hey, get yourself a nice rack or get yourself an ultrasound. Something to complement.
And we've seen that, Adam, is you kind of, I don't want to be a big head, but when your local exotic vet is phoning you or messaging you about an issue that they have with a customer's ball python,
right,
and they're contacting you saying, Gav, what do you think to this? That to me is just,
that's pretty cool,
wow.
dude. That's validation right there.
Exactly, because we specialize in a species. I mean, if you phone me up about an iguana or something, I'd be like,
I have no idea.
I ain't got a clue.
Right.
Vitamin dust? I don't know. I've got dart frogs. I keep dart frogs. I'm not a breeder of dart frogs. I'm not a specialist in dart frogs.
Yeah.
But the fact that when the local exotic vet will phone you or message you to say, I've got a problem, what do you feel about this? Because like I said, you've seen that species and working with that species, as a hobby, you tend to learn a bit more, and you kind of look at a behavioral response. So body condition, behavior of the animal can't be learned with an ultrasound or with the best racks in the world.
Or a
it
book.
all comes from experience.
Or a book.
A book. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
It can give you guidelines. You can have a starting point, but that's all it is. All this stuff is definitely a starting point. You're never gonna know until you do something. And that goes, I feel like, with anything. Obviously, going out there, getting your hands dirty, cleaning up that snake poop, and checking on them. Checking on them every day. You're gonna see stuff.
and people, people outside of our little community, sort of don't understand. I'm in the snake room cleaning poop, and you're like, what, really? And you're like, But for me, that snake poo, I'm kind of examining the snake poo. Oh yeah, that's great,
Right.
Because I know it's feeding, I know it's growing. I can see that they're doing everything correct. So soft as it sounds, I remember I used to see Steve Irwin going out in the bush, and he used to pick up on, this is so and so's dropping, and if you look, it's been eating loads of these little things, and I'm like, there, dude, put the shit down, put it down. We don't, but then sort of now I'm in the snake room and I'm going, she's growing. Look at that, look at that big turd, look how big it is. Like, she's growing.
Look, it's
really
almost all hair. She got everything out of it.
So you kind of like you really become very immersed in it all. And like I said, sometimes cleaning snake poo, you drop a podcast on in the background, or you drop some music on. It can be very therapeutical, especially if you've got a man cave and you just want to lock yourself away from the outside world and just do whatever you've got to do.
Absolutely.
So cleaning snake poo, who'd have thought it?
Right.
I'm going to make a
keeps
shirt.
Away.
Exactly. It says professional snake. Professional poop cleaner.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
One, so.
You get paid for that, man. You get paid to clean up poop right now. That's primarily what you're doing in there: feeding, cleaning. Pairing is such a short time.
Yeah,
exactly.
And let's face it, I don't know another hobby in the world, and I'm going to say hobby because whether it be a hobby or an industry or a job or whatever, I don't know. So let's talk about the hobby side. I don't know another hobby in the world where you can learn genetics, you can work with an exotic animal that doesn't bark, doesn't need a massive area to roam around.
Not dangerous.
Not dangerous. You have mutations, so all of a sudden you become like a mini home qualified professor.
Yeah.
And they're talking about genetics, and you feel clever, and you get to produce something that grow, produce babies from the the animals that you've grown up. I don't know another hobby, and you can make your money back, or look after your own collection and start reinvesting back in your collection. I don't know another hobby that you can do this. I don't.
Yeah, it's a fascinating hobby, man. It's a fascinating, and then on top of that, you can get a return from selling your babies, and that can fund an ultrasound or the neck snake or the rack
you can
system.
start paying for itself.
It's just you don't even have to pay to feed them now, because you're selling snakes, and so now you have your food covered for the year, and now you have. So it's like, dude, there is not a lot out there that doesn't cost.
Here in the UK, if you're being seen to make money from animals, it can be very frowned upon. However, I believe it's how you do it. So if you go and you put the animal's health beyond the money, so if you put the value of the money first instead of the animal's health, then
doing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yep.
However, for me, my practice or my goal was to always my collection pay for itself. Whether it be its feeding, whether it be me having a table at a show, and it pays for the table at the show for me to vend and sell the offspring. That's always been my goal, was to always every year sort of increase the profit, if you like, to reinvest back into the animals, because my snake money buys snakes or buys racks or rodents or that's my philosophy. And I think you're still making money, but you're reinvesting it back into your animals. And I don't think there's many people out there. I mean, look at Justin, his new facility. That is goals right there,
dude.
Yeah. A lot of people, I've heard a lot of people go, it's too clinical. It looks this, it looks that. I don't care what anyone says. It's still goals. It's still goals.
Is it ever?
And people are just and you. What's funny is you got Ozzy, Mark, and Justin, the people who I look up to, and I'm going to use those three because that's who everyone knows. Justin's got this fantastic state-of-the-art facility, and then you've got Ozzy, who still does it in his basement. Mark's got a little facility on the side of his house, and there's three different ways there that you can do the same hobby or industry or business and still be as successful as each other.
Yeah, you can still be Ozzy, Mark, or Justin.
And this is one thing, like when we talk about facilities here in the UK, probably most of the people here in the UK, most of the breeders in the UK are either using a bedroom or they're using a converted garage, and there's nothing wrong in that at all. There's nothing wrong with that. Right. If you're happy, your animals are happy, you're doing everything you want to do, and you're successful, there's just more than one way to do everything. Just make your own road, follow your own road.
Yep, follow your own road, exactly. And I mean, unfortunately, even here in the States, man, there's somewhat of a negative connotation to selling animals, right? For people that aren't really involved in that specific hobby or industry, from the outside view, they look at it a little oddly. And unfortunately, I think it's just the same saying, a few bad apples ruins the whole bunch, right? Because every once in a while, that story comes out, right? And it's of horrendous conditions for these animals and all these things. And then that takes all of us reptile keepers and breeders, solid years to dig back out of. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. I still get asked from people that don't know anything about the hobby in my local area about something that took place 60 miles down the road like 4 years ago, when they find out I have a decent amount of snakes. And it's crazy that I still have to talk about a situation 4 years ago. You know what I mean? But it made news.
Justify yourself. And it's the same. Soft as it sounds, when we look at motorbikes, when we see people being irresponsible on motorbikes and on the road, and if we're in a car, I'm a rider, you know, I've had bikes. When I'm on the road and you see someone like on a motorbike who does something stupid, as a rider, I'm going, that's stupid. People in the car who aren't riders who are going, oh, look at that, they're all the same, they're all this, they're all that. And I'm like, whoa, we're not all the same. However, yes, I agree, that was irresponsible. And that's the same for us in the community. We see some people do irresponsible things and we think, oh, that's a bit, you know, that's a bit
on now.
A no-go, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
It's cringeworthy.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, we keep going. I wouldn't say this year or last season we had it, but, you know, again, we can talk about cutting eggs. You know,
the egg cutting controversy, that was a big one, man.
Do you know, every year it tends to come round, and this and the other. You know, certain people, you know, I mean, it's Jay from Prehistoric Pets, the way he cuts open the retic eggs, you know, with the razor blade and sticks his finger in, you know. I used to cringe. I used to, oh my God, you know. But Jay is a retic guy. He knows what he's doing, and every time that guy gets stick for doing that. And as ball python breeders, we probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
As a retic breeder, that's probably standard practice. That's probably how it is. I don't know. However, what you do see Jay is when he's cutting the eggs, if he'd have cut them either hours before, he could have saved that snake. So, and it just goes to show with him cutting the eggs, it does, you know, it does save more babies than, and he doesn't, you know, harm the animal. He hasn't killed an animal by cutting an egg. If you know, that's what I say to people.
Well, shoot, man, he's producing retics. We're not talking about 10 eggs. We're talking about 60. Yeah. So he's probably literally has 10,000 eggs under his belt. I think the dude knows what he's doing.
Right.
Exactly. And the only thing I think a lot of people who are watching that as experienced keepers would look at that and go,
right,
that's a bit. But new people coming into the hobby, what we're trying to say to people is and Jay does say this quite a lot, I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this years. This is how I do things because I save snakes. And I think Jay being so influential out there and having a lot of followers, that, you know, he's bringing a lot of new people in, like Brian Barchek, you know, bringing a lot of people into the industry. And what we need to make sure we do is we need to go, yeah, those guys or these people are experienced. You know, they've been doing it years.
Yeah.
Don't go sticking your finger in a ball python egg and pulling it out because it's not. I don't even do that.
It's not a retic.
Exactly. I may just roll the body a little bit just so I can see, make sure it's okay. It's not tangled. But there's a purpose for that. Yep. It's not, you know, and that's something that. You know, I think when we educate people, it's important. And there is people out there that we do watch, even as breeders, and we go, that's a bit, that's close to the edge, you know what I mean? That's a bit, But we know they know what they're doing. And like I said, most people who, you know, like Jay will always say, I do this, and look, if I'd have cut this egg an hour earlier, and some of these are picked and some of them have come out, but if I'd have cut this an hour earlier, I probably would have saved this baby.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's there's lots of different ways to do things, and not just because it's the first time you're seeing it or maybe a little cringeworthy, don't light the torches and get the pitchforks, right? Like, be respectful of people. And if you do have an issue with the way somebody is doing something, reach out to them, right?
Yeah.
Most of the guys in this hobby, they're going to be able to communicate back with you, depending on the manner that you open communication with them. Everybody needs to remember that, right?
Yep.
But most of us are willing to explain why we do something. I know Jay would be as well. If you hit him up on Instagram or YouTube and really have a serious concern over why he's doing something like that, him or one of his staff will tell you exactly why, right? So,
and that's, you know, and again, we've got to look at different species. Like, I wouldn't tell him how to breed retics,
right?
I'd help him with his ball pythons. There's little things I see that and that's why he's got a ball python guy at his place.
Mm-hmm.
There's little things we can all help each other. But we've all got our own ways of doing things. But going back to the original topic of conversation, it doesn't matter where you are in the industry or where you are in the hobby. Just enjoy it. Justin's doing his things, Ozzy's doing his, Mark's doing his. We're all doing our own thing. It's good that you can look up and say, I want to be like this guy. And that's good. But, be you. Do you. Do your own thing. And people say to me all the time, they message me saying, what should I get? What should I buy? What should I make? And the first thing I say is, what do you like?
Right. Right.
What do you want to make?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, I like pies. There you go. Make some pies. If that's what you like, make it.
Yeah.
It's if I say to you, like someone said to me, oh, go make albinos. Albinos are beautiful animals, but they don't get me excited,
Right.
They're beautiful. And as a good friend of mine, he's heavily into the albino project and he makes some amazing animals, but they're not for me.
And those are the same as albinos here in America, or?
Albinos.
Sorry.
That's a fancy morph.
We haven't laughed at a little bit. I had to throw that in.
Yeah, normally when I'm talking to Americans, I start talking like pastel or here
pastel, dude.
Pastels.
Where's the pastel at?
Pastel. Yeah, where's the pastel? Pastels, and it's quite funny because
hey, you did a good job on that one.
yeah. It's quite funny because I get people in the UK who I speak to and they say pastel, and they actually, because there's that many American YouTubers, they actually say the word pastel or
we're winning.
Albinos.
Right.
Albinos, yeah. Albino,
dude. I know, I love that. That's so funny. I remember that from Tinley too. Pastel.
I bet you lot was I was there talking and you lot were behind me going,
you hearing this
what
guy?
the hell is he going on about? Talking about pastel and albino. What the hell?
They got some weird stuff over there.
Oh, albino. Oh, it's albino. Translation.
Yeah, dude, I had to get the translator
Siri,
app out.
Right? Siri, hold on, listen. What does that mean?
I like that, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, we've been gabbing for almost an hour. Holy cow! This time has been flying. I love it.
Wow. This is we're tearing on here. I feel like we're having a pretty good conversation. We had a question in chat. This is kind of a little bit outside of kind of switching gears. Maybe talk about some of the genes you're working with. Somebody just wanted to know if you were working with Tri-Stripe or maybe want to dive into some project talk real quick for the next maybe like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
or so.
sure. I'm not working with Tri-Stripe. I've got enough recessive stuff going on at the moment. And again, this goes back to doing what you like. I'm not a fan of striped animals. And it's not that I don't, I've got some beautiful striped animals. But I like to see that busted up pattern and that real sort of granity look, Right. So for me, Tri-Stripe project is an absolute awesome project, and we don't see enough of it. Maybe we do need to see more of it. But for me, I'm not working with it. I do think it's a good project to get into. Again, if it's what you want to work with, what you want to make, knock yourself out. Go and work with it, because at the end of the day, it's all about what you want to do as a person, and work with the genes you want to work with. It's like all the genes I work with, I'm really excited about. Orange Dream, I've recently got some acid stuff from Josh Jensen. Love the acid stuff. What else have we got going on? Obviously, Slang Pie.
Dale wanted to know about the acid ivory. Is that the animal that you were just referencing, or?
Yeah, so I brought a pastel acid ivory from Josh. And I love the acid project. or confusion project. I love it. And for me, I wanted that little bit more firepower. And you know, he's a white snake with a yellow stripe down his back, and he's got a bit of purple in him. But I know what he can produce. Everything's going to be yellow belly.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And,
right.
You know, and we can start, you know, working that into certain projects of mine, like ultramel. I'd love to see ultramel acids along with the yellow belly acids in there. You know, so ultramel, I'm a massive, you know, I love ultramel, massive fan of ultramel. I just love the way it looks. It's a color mutation. You know, put it into. I've got some double het stuff, ultramel clown grown up.
Sweet.
Again,
Beautiful
don't see
snakes.
much of that going on in the UK. So the ultramel project, I'm really excited for.
Could I ask you a question about your ultramel? Do you plan on breeding visual to visual, or only het to het, or are you doing anything to possibly avoid any sort of kinking issues with the projects? Or
well, with ultramels, you don't get kinking. That's the thing. Caramels, you get kinking.
Right.
So the reason why I went with ultramel was because caramel's a beautiful looking animal, but the kinking issue. If you want to talk about the caramels, then what you will see a lot of breeders, they will breed a visual to a het.
Right.
So that
At
so
most,
that limits that will limit the amount of kinking. Now there are talk out there, and we'll talk about the caramels. There is talk out there of a line of caramel that doesn't kink. Are they really caramels, or are they a different line of ultramel?
Right.
I don't know. Because I can tell you there's two lines of ultramels. There's the Noah line and there's the Kreidler line. Now the Kreidler line of ultramel looks more like a caramel than it does an ultramel. I work with the Noah line, which tends to be a lot more brighter. Now both lines are compatible. Justin did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I did it as well. We bred two different lines of ultramel together, and they produce visual ultramels.
Okay.
Cool.
Now, because we know things can get confused and lost along the way, like butters become lessers and lessers become butters, and Mojaves become phantoms and phantoms become mystics. It's very easy to mislabel something and go and pick something up that you've brought from someone and go, this is a ultramel or this is a caramel. It's very easy to do that. It can get, you know, mixed up. So whether this line of caramel is actually an ultramel line, I don't know. I don't work with it. But what you will find is with a lot of breeders that work with caramel will do a visual to a het, and it's normally a visual male to a het female, because all the caramel females I've known of, and this may not be factual, you know, we may have something completely different, but back in the day when Ozzy, you know, Ozzy was working with them, Ralph Davis was working with them, you know, all their visual females never produced eggs, or they died. And Ozzy will back me up. So that's why they, and again, maybe different now, things may have changed, but with the when you're breeding a het to a visual, it tends to be the male is the visual and the female is the het, whether it be a combination of pastel, and, you know.
I'd heard the same, with a lot of the early caramel, you know, the caramel project, basically, het being the female was your best avenue. I mean, I had heard that too, that there was reduced to little risk with the ultramel, but I'd heard that there was still some kinking going on, and that might have just been some individuals with, you never know, incubation can cause weird things, right? And this wasn't like it was 30 eggs and there's a percentage of them coming out. You know, it was like one clutch type of thing, and a few animals did. And then that specific person decided to abandon all T positives completely within ball pythons. But
and again, you know, we work off in this industry or this hobby. We work off. You know, we can never be 100% certain at the end of the day. All I can tell you is everything that I've worked with being ultra male and I've sold on, have all gone on to reproduce, no kinking issues. And and again, I've spoke to a lot of breeders with ultra males that haven't brought them from me or what have you, and they have had no kinking issues.
Also, right.
But again, you know, we've got ourselves cross lines. I don't know, because like I said, the one line does look more like caramels than it does an ultra male.
Right, yeah, and who knows? Right, exactly. And like I said, you know, statistically, one clutch doesn't set precedents for anything, right?
And this is where we go back. Sorry, Adam, talking about buying from reputable breeders. Again, this is something else. At the end of the day, if I sell an animal and I'm unsure, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to say, "Oh yeah, it's this,"
right?
When I'm not sure. And that's where I try and say to people, you know, if you want to buy from someone, there is plenty of reputable breeders out there who will help you along the way. So always, you know, buying from reputable breeders is also another good thing.
For sure.
Huge. That's a huge part of this game, you know, huge part of this game.
I get that question asked of how do you become a reputable breeder, right? And in all honesty, it's kind of putting yourself out there a little bit on social media, letting people get to know who you are, communicating. You don't have to have a YouTube channel, right? But communicating with people, open channels, and just kind of, once people start to get to know you, the word gets around. Our hobby is not very big when you really think about the size of the world, right? So once one person gets to know you, well, that person knows quite a few other, and things get spread around, right? So, but what's your advice?
Yeah, exactly that. Reputation is key, and you don't have to have a YouTube channel. You don't have to have a massive following. And this is something else that I see people make mistakes. You know, my YouTube channel isn't that high in numbers as what it could be. If I started vlogging and doing this and doing that, I dare say I could get followers go through the roof. But for me, it's built up over years. And when you get someone new to the hobby and they see the YouTube channel, they see the Instagram, they sort of think, I'll go and buy followers or I'll buy subscribers.
Yep.
It doesn't work. It does not work. It's not, you know, if you're in this just for followers and subscribers, then you're in the wrong hobby.
Absolutely, because those fake followers and all those fake views or fake subs, they're not going to get you the reputation that you're looking for. You know,
exactly.
No one knows you still.
Yeah,
exactly. What the other thing people fail to see is just because you've got, I think I've just got under 18,000 subscribers on YouTube, doesn't mean all 18,000 people are still on YouTube or watch YouTube, or you know, they may have changed their account or gone on, you know. So your percentage of now people liking your photo or liking your video or subscribing, you know, is very minimal, like 10% or something like that. You know, I'm one of these people that I work on 10%. So if I get 1,700 views on a video, that's good for me. That's where I'm at.
Right.
But again, being you as a person, don't BS people, because people will find out in the end. And once people find out, that will ruin you, and you've got to build your foundation. So if you're starting out in the hobby, you know, you don't have to be a YouTuber. You don't have to be on Instagram. You have to have some sort of platform to let people know you're there and what you're working with. But you know, you don't have to be this social media guru to, you know, there's a lot of people who I look up to who aren't on social media that have a very, very small collection. But without those guys, you know, I wouldn't be where I am. So I hold them in great stead. But take your time, you know, don't go crazy. You don't have to have a YouTube. I would seriously get on Instagram. If you want to start somewhere, start on Instagram, start posting regularly, interacting with other people's posts, even if it's just a hi, hello, you know, great looking snake, You know, make yourself known and you know that works. That really does work. And
Yeah.
you get people saying, "Oh, I haven't got time to do this. I haven't got time to do that." But unfortunately, you've got to be one of the hardest workers in the room to get anywhere.
You do.
You know?
Yes, you do.
And you've got to put the effort in. You know, nothing comes for free. Yeah, and that's what you got to do.
You get what you put in.
There you go. Yeah, because I mean, it's easy to say you got to buy from reputable people, and then all these people come in here like, well, wait a second, how do I become reputable, right? And and so I think it's not as big of a hurdle as people think, right? Just start engaging.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you want to be reputable, buy from reputable breeders. So let's say, for example, I brought a snake from Adam and I brought a snake from Joel, and I breed them together. I now know where these animals come from.
Right.
So I can actually say, well, the mom came from Adam and the dad came from Joel. We can now trace those snakes. You may have got yours from Justin Adam. You may have got yours from Ozzy Joel. Now we've got a bloodline to follow. So you have brought from reputable breeders. And what I wanted to create here in the UK, or to try and help create, was a reputable bloodline. So, when people say, "Oh yeah, I brought this snake from Gavin at Balls2U," if you look back in his video, one of his videos 3 years ago, you can actually see that snake coming out the egg.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that gives a foundation. So when people are starting out in the hobby, because the way things are going, and I can see everyone evolving. Excuse the pun, Miguel.
Always, dude.
The hobby's evolving, always evolving in a positive way. That if I was a newbie, I could say, "Oh yeah, I've got this snake from Adam, and I've got this snake from Joel." Then that person now has confidence in the baby that they're buying, because me as a breeder, I've brought from reputable breeders,
right?
And they brought from reputable breeders. So if you want to be a reputable breeder, pay attention to your animals. Start with the quality. Start with the foundations. Build your collection up with, the foundation. And again, it doesn't have to be powerful animals. It doesn't have to be 5-10 gene animals. It just has to be quality. The best pastel, or the best clown, or the best pied. Not a combo, but just the quality of that animal, and then build your way up. And that will certainly give you a great foundation. Start off as a breeder when you come to sell your offspring.
Don't you have something that you say about that? Something about world's first, or have the world's world's first, or
it used to be back in the day. Everyone used to be, world's first. Look at this, and that's fantastic. Listen, I've got loads of world's firsts, and none of them are on World of Ball Pythons. And the reason for that, and I'll tell you quickly, is I was sending some pictures over to the guy, I forget his name now, World of Ball Pythons, and he kept sending me back, "Oh no, it needs to be in a lower format. The picture quality is too high, and you've got to do this." And in the end, I just thought, you know what? Forget this. I can't be bothered.
Right.
And so I've got a lot of world's firsts, but for me, it's all about world's best. So it's world's best, guys. And let's face it, anyone can make a clown, anyone can make a pastel. But I like to go, this is a 2-gene combo, and go, look at this. And people go, what's that? And you go,
right,
it's this. And they go, yeah, what else is in it?
Yeah.
And you just go,
That's it.
It's just this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. There's different lines of animals, different lines of mutations which are better than others. And there's nothing wrong in that. It's like, now I'm at the stage where I've got Orange Dream, but I want high intensity Orange Dream. So all my Orange Dream stuff, I'm sort of crossing over into the high intensity line. Yeah. So it's kind of like just making your stuff not better, but you're kind of going for quality over quantity. So go for world's best, not world's first.
Yep.
Yeah, when I first started watching your channel back in the day, like, I loved that saying from you, and it was true, man. You would show some pastels. Did I say it right? Some pastels.
Yeah,
pastels.
Pastel. I can't help it. I'm a peaky blinder at heart.
There you go, dude. Love that show. Oh my gosh.
Me too, man. That's a great show. But you had some examples of just 1-2 gene animals that were stellar, right? And I took that to heart when I started trying to go out and acquire certain ingredients for the projects that I was interested in, taking not just the first animal that I ran across that had the genes that I wanted. That wasn't the most important thing. It was the specific example of those genes, either together or a single animal. That's what I was looking for. And, I'd get bummed sometimes because all of a sudden there'd be nothing out there to buy, and I wanted to buy something, and I'm like, oh, but I'm so happy that I waited because I'd come on a good, example of it. So,
and Joel, you've produced some animals that I've looked at and I've just gone, wow. And Adam, you're in the puzzle project, and you can appreciate that there's some puzzles which look better than others.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Joel, your animals that you've produced, and I mean this with great respect, you haven't got a massive collection.
Right.
But what you have got and what you've produced, even though you may have a small amount of clutches a year, but the quality just far exceeds the number. And Adam, I know some of your projects, like I said, with the puzzle stuff, you've gone for quality over quantity, and that stands you pair out as breeders. Like I said, it's all about quality, because everyone now wants quality. They want the best looking animal that they can find, and trying to educate people and say, don't just go and buy the cheapest animal. If you've got to pay the money, because it will pay you back. And I'm not talking financially. I'm talking about the way the animal looks as it grows. And you open that drawer every time, and you're like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, God, that's a huge poop, but you're pretty. All right, let's do this.
And there's some merit on getting the animals that look exceptional just for the social media aspect side of things. There's the standout animals perform better on social media, which is going to give you more exposure, and you can't even calculate that into what the animal does for you as well outside of that. So it's for real.
Touching on that as well, Joel, how many times have you posted a female either on eggs or locking with a male as a breeder? We're so excited about that. We're like, wow.
Yeah.
But as a social platform, you don't get many likes, but you post a little baby picture of a snake of bright colours, everyone goes mad for it, and you're like, yeah, but it's just a banana, but people go, wow, and it's kind of like, it's knowing your audience. And I see breeders, great breeders, and they post pictures and they look terrible. As a breeder, I know genetically that pair
is insane.
Awesome pairing.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
But unfortunately, we're dealing with a bigger platform. So yes, that may appeal to me as a breeder, and I understand where you're coming from. But if you're trying to, build your platform up, I think you've got to have a mixture of look at this and look at this, and work off that. But always go for quality.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And Novi's Reptile, I thought this post from hers just in the chat comments was really poignant to what we're talking about. She was saying quality isn't always the most expensive either. Price doesn't dictate quality, right? Just because you shelled out $5,000 doesn't mean your animal's the best out there, right? Nope. You just paid $5,000 for it, right? That's it.
Yeah. And that's exactly, that's exactly right. And that's why I say, reputable breeders, it's not only, for me, it's not just about the animals that they produce, it's about their after service, the quality, their customer service, all that sort of stuff. So when you buy an animal, like I've brought animals off Justin and Ozzy, and they've been expensive, but I've also brought some animals off them which were cheaper and equally as good quality, or they are good quality, but I'm buying the breeder, not only the snake. So it's kind of like, I've also brought some animals which were cheap, but again, from a reputable breeder, but they are outstanding. So it's not like she said, it's not just the price tag. It's just that sometimes as human beings, we tend to look for that deal, that bargain.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we do tend to look a lot of the times at eyes looking at the price tag as opposed to the quality.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And that's why we talk about quality. And it doesn't mean that the price tag needs to be high or low. It just means just buy quality.
Totally. It's simple. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're hitting that hour and 20 minutes range. I know it's like 4 a.m. over there for you.
Sorry, Gavin's got work tomorrow. I'm sure. 2 a.m.
Oh, no,
you got nothing to do tomorrow, so I don't really feel bad.
It's half past 2 here in the UK.
Okay. Well, so we'll jump over to the lightning round questions really quick, and then in the meantime, chat if you want to throw in some questions. I know we had a couple I might have missed. If you want to maybe re-ask those, and we will kick off that lightning round. The problem is I still have lost the lightning round questions, Adam. So you still have to come up with one. I have the other ones, but we'll kick this off. Obviously, you know how lightning round works. What would be your spirit animal?
My what?
Your spirit animal. Like, what would you consider your
spirit animal?
Yeah.
Probably something like a big cat, like a panther or a tiger.
Okay.
Like that.
Tiger King. Got it.
Oh, that's a good series I've just been watching. Great.
We had
off the subject.
We had Reggie in here.
Subject very quickly. Yeah, Reg. I didn't know, man. I think he posted, and I was like, dude, you work for that guy. That's nuts, man. No.
Right? It blows my mind. I was like, Reggie, what the hell, dude? That's crazy.
Right?
Nuts, man. Reggie's awesome, man.
Okay, so travel back in time. When would you travel?
Oh, I love the whole samurai area.
Okay.
Type, that for me, if I had to go somewhere, it would be Japan or China around about those days. Obviously not now because we have an issue with Corona.
Right.
But yeah, around about
early
there,
on.
definitely then.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or I suppose going back and being like a Peaky Blinder, being as from.
You would make a good Peaky, I feel like. Yeah, you would have done all right.
I've got a good hat for that.
Yeah, there you go.
Arthur, where are you?
Yeah.
Come on,
dude. I love that series, man. It's probably it's madness, dude. Madness. Okay.
I have to translate it for Heather.
Right.
It's like what?
Yeah, we use subtitles, so it works. Yeah. 3 words to describe yourself as a teenager.
Wow. Okay. Very. I was very naive. Very. Naive is probably all the words. Everything. Naive.
To the third power.
Naive. I was very. What's the word? Cocky.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys it means the same thing. Cocky and confident.
Right.
As a teenager.
Yeah. Okay. Those are hand in hand. That naive and cocky.
Yeah, I'll just say this, as Eddie Murphy says it very well in Beverly Hills Cop. I broke a few laws. I fractured a few laws. I was a kid. Very few.
Okay, I like that. Okay, so. This is the unofficial, official question that we like to ask everybody on here. If you're wearing pants, jeans, let's say, are you a button fly kind of guy or a zipper kind of guy?
Button.
Yes, you're damn right you are. Absolutely.
Yeah, I've caught the old dingling too many times, and that's it.
There it is. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Button fly takes down another W tonight. So everybody gives me crap for that. I'm the button fly guy, So there it is, Gavin. The heavy from across the pond wearing the buttons.
Yeah, definitely. Button corner.
Yeah. So a random question, if you have one, Adam, for the final random.
For the fire round, if you were an ice cream flavor, what would it be?
Oh, salted caramel.
Salted. You're not salty though, man.
Yeah. Sweet and salty are the same thing.
I like that, man. I like that.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. Well, I saw something. Someone said, I can't think. Adding salt to my name just flavors my seasoning. So something like that. But yeah, it's salted caramel.
That's a good flavor. I like it. All right.
So we always have this question that comes in, and we'll honorarily ask it. The sleeper gene question. What do you think's a gene out there that's being slept on a little bit?
Okay, this is difficult because in the US and in the UK it could be something completely different.
Right.
We don't have any Mackenzie stuff here in the UK.
Okay.
When I was over at Timley, I sat next to Jim, and Jim from Eptonic Dungeon, he won on the auction. He won that Mackenzie gene. Mm-hmm. However, when we looked at it at the table, it was in shed, and when it shed out, he sent me pictures, and it blew my mind. I was like, what? With that being said, I think Jim thinks there's something else in that animal that he brought or that he won from Tinley. So the Mackenzie gene here in the UK, I feel, is a very sleeper gene. We don't see anything over here about it. So that, for me, if I had to say something in the UK, the Mackenzie gene, look into that in the UK. In the States, we don't see, again, Ultramel, if we looked at a recessive project.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that because I'm in the project. I've got no animals to sell. It's not about sales. For me, we haven't explored, and there's a lot of genes, but if I had to nail it down, I think the Ultramel gene, being a recessive, what we can do with it and where we can run with it. Ultramel, puzzles, Ultramel clowns, Ultramel pies are great baseline to start. Ultramel acid or confusion combos, then putting that into clown. So there's a lot of sleeper genes out there, but those are the two that, if I had to recommend any in the UK or in the States, those are the two I think, to work with or to look at.
Right. So I have a question for you about Ultramel. Since you're kind of working with it, what do you think about the Ultramel sunset? Do you think that's going to have an impact, or do you think the power of the T negative or T positive is going to just kind of erase it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, and this is going to be controversial, and I'm going to put it out there. And, I don't mean this with any nastiness or anything like that. The Scaleless and the Sunset projects, I think, were meant to be two projects that were meant to be pinnacle projects for us as a community and in the hobby. However, the way they've been handled hasn't been the best. And what I feel now is that the people who have the Sunset and have the Scaleless are kind of showing the what we can do with it.
Right.
So for me, Sunset project, I think, is a fantastic project, and I know what's the gentleman's name who's hit the Sunset Clown?
Matt Byram.
Matt. That's it. So Matt had amazing odds with that, and I certainly it looks awesome. But I'm kind of I hope. I know clowns brown out, but I just hope it doesn't brown out. Now, bringing the Ultramel into it, Ultramels get better with age.
They do, right?
And with Ultramels, they're not like they don't brown out. The color, it goes through a color change, but it doesn't brown out. So I'm kind of, and it doesn't disrupt the pattern either. So I'd like to think that the Ultramel will enhance the Sunset and make for a better looking adult.
Right.
Regarding the Sunset.
Yeah.
because here in the UK, just quickly, the scaleless animal or the scaleless project, there's a lot of people on the fence. I'm not a fan of the scaleless ball python. I'm not. Doesn't mean it's a bad project. I'm just not a fan of it. And like we said before, work with what gets you excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
The scaleless head, the het form, that does do some amazing things.
It does. It's pretty
absolutely,
cool.
Yeah. So, and again, Sunset project, fantastic animal. It is a pattern changer as well as a color changer. But I'd like to see us dial in the colors and get the colors as an adult, because for me it's having all baby snakes look beautiful, of course, but it's also having the adult version as nice or better than the baby. I think that's where as breeders over the years, instead of just producing, we're kind of honing in our skills and trying to produce better looking animals
for sure
as adults.
Yeah.
So I think the ultramale will work. Yeah, I think the ultramale will work with the Sunset. I think it will. But again, we can envision what something will look like. When you breed them together, it's completely different.
Never know, man.
Yeah, you never know. Part of the fun, Yeah. It really is.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, because I think Sunset's one of those genes, like you said, where it was supposed to be a pinnacle. Didn't quite live up to its britches, I feel like. And now I think there needs to be some genes that I think there's some genes out there though that are gonna change that. I think we're gonna start seeing, the yellow bellies, and we've already started to see fire again and stuff like that. Those kind of enhancing genes, bringing it through there. But I've always been curious, like ultramel and stuff like that. Really strong genes interacting, you never know how they're going to work.
It's going to be hard because, it's a double recessive. So it's going to be a long project. And that's the other thing, people are very much in a rush to produce a particular animal or a particular combo, let's say, instead of taking the time. Like I've got double het Desert Ghost Exantics that are breeding this season. But they're growing up. Now, I always wanted to make a Exantic clown. That was the second combo I saw that blew my mind. Bumblebee being the first one, the Exantic clown being the second. Now I've had the ingredients for years and years to make that combo. They just never lined up. So I'm going the long way about it. So I want to produce a Desert Ghost Exantic and then breed that into clown.
Right.
And this project will probably end up taking me 10 or 15 years. But instead of going like in a rush, I could go out and buy an Exantic clown,
Right.
But with that being said, it's all about, taking your time, putting together the ingredients. The Desert Ghost I brought was an exceptional looking male. And as adults, he's virtually, white.
Right.
And then with the Exantic female that I used, she was virtually black and silver as an adult. So, so I kind of, don't get me wrong, I've gone for the best examples I could find. Doesn't mean the offspring are going to be that way, but they should in theory.
Right.
And again, the double hets, they look amazing. So, just take your time. And like I said, there's a lot of genes out there, fire, yellow belly, ultramel. I think spot nose gets better with age as well.
Yes.
Again, a spot nose Sunset.
Great, look amazing.
Two gene combo that could absolutely blow up. A pastel spot nose looks better than a pastel.
It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Brad's, the pastel hypo Sunset. Holy cow,
Dude,
man! That thing was
hypo
amazing.
Sunset blew my mind.
Yeah.
That blew my mind. Yeah. Sunset and hypo are perfect for each other.
And again, I love hypo, and that's another gene that I would not have put in with a Sunset to make it look better.
Right.
But they're prime example.
Yeah.
Hypo, the first mutations that was proven out, is still
relevant,
making headlines today.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a relevant.
It's still
gene,
relevant
man.
and lots to do with it. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Orange Dream hypos look amazing.
They
They do.
Black
Joel and I
pastel
were just
hypo.
talking about those the other day. Orange
about
Dream,
hypos.
hypo, boom.
Yeah.
Orange.
Yep.
And then
Orange
I love the
Dream-
dark stuff and hypo.
Orange Dream
Got it,
hypo-pied. Dude, that thing is
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh yes.
Dude, that thing's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, this is what's exciting. We've just spoken about a few combos, and there have only been really 2 or 3 gene combos.
Right.
Which they're not 10 or 7 gene combos, but they excite us. They get us excited.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Work from the ground up. Buy your ingredients. Make your combos, because I'll tell you now, there is nothing more satisfying and gratifying than producing something that just knocks the socks off, and it's only a 2 or 3 gene combo.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep. I agree. Well, I think on that note, we'll have to close it out and save the rest for a round 2, and we can get you to stay up until the wee hours of the night or morning.
Definitely had some questions that did go unanswered, so apologies, guys. But it's super late Gavin's time. It's getting late our time, so we will have Gavin on for his second show, and I'll save these back. Make sure you guys get those questions answered the next time. So
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate everyone for tuning in, and thanks for having me on, guys. Obviously, I can't see the questions that people have been asking, but I just want to let your audience know that I really appreciate them tuning in and watching and spending time. Obviously, I'll help post this, but I really do appreciate your guys' efforts in what you pair do, doing these interviews, taking time out of your day to do these interviews, and I do appreciate your effort. As much as mine, it's the least I could do is get up at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, yeah, man, we really appreciate
It's
it.
an honor. It's an honor for me. So it's awesome hanging out with you guys again.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, man.
Thanks,
We were super happy to have you on here. We really appreciate it. And where can people reach you, real quick?
Obviously, Instagram's always the way forward. YouTube, you can message me on there, DM me, whatever. I'll always try. I always try and make an effort of replying back to every message I get. And again, on YouTube, I try and reply back to anything that gets asked.
Yeah.
But it does become very difficult. But I do appreciate everyone's love and support, and that's why I love this community.
Right.
It's awesome.
Right. Well, thank you very much. All those links for Gavin are in the description. If you all want to click on those, take you right over to him. We want to thank Gavin again for having the time for us. We really appreciate that, man. Our audience, thank you so much for showing up. Stay safe out there. Wash your hands. Be responsible.
Yep. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Yeah. Be responsible. All right. Love y'all. Thank you, guys.
Take care. Take care, everyone. Take care.